Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Wayward Dragons Review. I'm Johnny.
And I'm Kelsey. And hello. Welcome. Hope everyone had a great Lunar New Year. Also, we are in the year of the dragon. Which I thought was
Officially
kind of
as we are recording this.
Yeah, we are in the year of the dragon. Woo. I thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, how are you?
You know, I'm okay.
I feel it.
I don't have any complaints.
I feel that big time.
Stuff's looking up at work.
That's good.
Everything's good on the home front for right now, and I think I'm doing all right.
That's good.
What about yourself?
I was like, job has started. I forget how dumb teenagers are.
You can forget how dumb teenagers are?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? I live in my own little bubble over here. I was telling my boss, he's like, so what'd you do while we were shut down? And I go, Pat, I didn't leave my house except to go to the library and the grocery store. That's it. I go, I read 10 books. That's what I did while we were shut down. He just looks at me. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's what I did while we were not here. As I read like a champ. Yeah, that was me. That was me.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I was like, we have started back up. Huh?
Oh, go ahead.
No, just we started back up, so my reading has slowed down, which sucks. But what were you gonna say?
Well, you said you've read 10 books. Is that since our last recording, or is that just during the...
That was just January. I've read 4 between here and last episode and this episode. Because of where we slowed down, we started up, so I can't sit and read like I like. So... Yeah, and trying to get my little weird brain organized. I don't know if it's because of COVID or what. I just shut my finger in my 3-ring binder. Sorry. Yeah, I did. I just did that like an idiot. Yeah, no, just trying to figure out what works best for my brain because I've been so busy for so long and only having one job now, I legit just am struggling to find my routine again, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like I've been nonstop for over 3 years, all day, every day, and now I went down from 60 hours to 30 hours, and it's like, holy shit, what the hell do I do with my time? Type thing.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So, I love my husband. I am putting together like a planner type thing that works best for ADHD people because I find that stuff is more detailed. I don't know if that's actually what I got rocking upstairs, at this point. I'm too scared to go get an evaluation at this because women show different signs than men. But like it's backwards, so you can't even. But like they've got like how to lay out your week, how to lay out your day, how to lay out your month. So it helps with me sticking to something. So that way I can get all my stuff done I want done.
Yeah.
What did you read? How many did you read?
Billions and billions of things. I don't even know.
Huh?
I don't even know. I'm not even going to cover all of them. Uh, so one of the series that I read,
Yeah.
it's the like Into the Fire series by Paul J. Bennett. It's your typical like high fantasy, fire and ice romance type situation.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was okay. I'd say
Okay.
overall, thus far, the series is kind of average. I've not completed it yet, but yeah, it was okay. I also read The Reluctant Druid by John R. Osborne,
Okay.
and it's a fun like weird urban fantasy thing where this guy who's a druid and works at a bookstore gets visited by this very described as very attractive lady, and his coworkers like, dude, you should totally try and hit that, get her number, blah blah blah, and like all this other shit, and then come to find out he's actually like the last druid. Well, not really. Well, he's one of the last druids in a particular bloodline and still practices druidic practices.
Okay.
And so the gods are like, we need you to use your druid craft and magic to make this sword so the champion can fight, because we have us on one side who are like the old gods and the forces of nature, and then you have these other gods on the other side that are, uh, like Abrahamic gods, and so there's this whole massive fight where we split up and where we had to sign these accords, and they're basically the domineering force in the world because of this,
Okay.
and so every so many years we can take it and attempt to fight by nominating our champion, and your uh, you have to make a sword for the champion, and then come
Okay.
to find out, spoiler here, but the champion is actually a woman that he met at a pagan festival that he had a one night stand with, um, because she like
Okay.
dipped out on him, and he actually had interest in her, then more than just a one night stand, but she dipped out on him, and she got knocked up from it.
Oh,
And so he meets
his son.
along with, yep,
Okay.
who is, yeah. So that's the little, like I said, minor spoilers there, but it's really fairly obvious. But overall enjoyable. It's got a lot of fun, lesser known gods in it.
Okay.
Um, I also read the first two books in the Two Necromancers series, which are two necromancers, a bureaucrat, and an elf, and then
I
two
saw that you
necromancers,
read
an army,
those.
and a golem. That's
I
pretty
saw.
funny, honestly.
Yeah.
It's yeah, they're like middle fantasy, high fantasy. Actually, I could say it'd be high fantasy, but the main character is a necromancer, but not like he's like necromancers get a bad rap. I just have a talent for bringing things back from the dead, and so he's like he has a castle. His castle is on top of this like interdimensional, interplanar portal, which he uses to siphon off energy from it to help make himself stronger, but also to stop the portal from like the creatures from the portal overwhelming the land. And it's got his apprentice, and he's kind of building up a group of heroes. And the
Okay.
kingdom he's in is going to war, and they've offered anyone who wants to take it and fight for the kingdom, any magic users, pardons. And as you know, or as I'm sure you can guess, necromancers are frowned upon as per usual.
Oh yeah.
So he's just like, hey, what if let's see if I can get a pardon. And they're like, they're like, well, it wasn't exactly meant for you and like someone of your high caliber and renown, but yeah, no, if you do what we say and build up a team of people who can help fight for our country, then yeah, we'll give you a pardon.
That's never how it works.
So that's what he's been doing. I read some books from work that I'm not going to bore anyone with.
Solid.
I read the first 2 books for the Modern Paladin series, which is Modern Paladin and Allies, which are by Arthur A. Bramlett, and it's a lit RPG. This guy is an avid D&D player or something like D&D. It's some kind of tabletop game. They don't really specifically say that it's D&D, but there's not all the rules line up as far as like for D&D. However, when he's walking home after the session, he ends up getting lost and waking up, or like ending up in a fantasy world, and he is his character from the D&D game. And then so he's like, well, if I'm here, maybe my friends are here. And then they find a newspaper from the real world where it shows that him and his friends have come up missing. And so he's just like, well, heck, I should go find them.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is that with the character, like, he can't make decisions that would be outside of what his character would make.
Okay.
So, like, his character is like a very virtuous paladin who, you know, is very selective and, like, is pining over romance and stuff like that. And he tries a couple times to interact in a way that his character would interact with women, and, like, from a romantic standpoint. And there's, like, a little text box that pops up. And if he shows it, it changes what he said. So, like, what he's trying to say isn't what he actually says, and he gives the answer to what he would say. So he can only respond how his character would respond.
That's funny.
And then the last thing I did was another lit RPG, which I did the first 2 books in that, which is Dreamstream Reality. It's the book series by Derrick, Burke. Basically, this guy and some of his friends play in an MMO, and they get a chance to start the new version of the MMO. This is like the game, and they're releasing another game that's like the sequel to it, and so they get to beta test it, and it's just adventures in the game from there.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a bunch of stuff. That's what I've been doing. Haven't really watched much of any note as far as movies or TV shows. What about you?
Same. We've been watching Gold Rush. It's an anxiety show. So the first one that I finished was The Dead Take the A Train by Cassandra Shaw and Richard Caldry. So I said this in our last episode. This is graphic. This is horror. If you can't do blood and guts and whatever that phobia is with like multiple holes and like multiple eyeballs, don't read this. It's first chapter, it's bloody and this lady's like incubated with like demon squid eggs. It's weird.
I hate when that happens.
But it fucking sucks, dude. Like, it's annoying. When her mother like does it to her too. Like yeah. But the main character, who is Julie is a drug addict, and she's kind of like on the low rung of dealing with all the supernatural stuff that's in New York. And she's at an end of a job, and her best friend, who she's been in love with forever, she shows up at her door, and her husband is abusive and stuff, and best friend wants away and everything. Well, Julie summons what she thinks is a guardian angel, but it's not. And I'm very curious of what the next book's gonna bring. Because it ends real weird. It definitely ends on a cliffhanger. Because you have like the premise is she doesn't. She brings something far worse through, because she's been played, obviously, by an ex-boyfriend, and yeah, it gets real weird. It's good. It's graphic. It's really good. It's really funny. So that was the first one. And then I read Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Carnas. So, if you like a lot of romance, not spice, just romance with your horror, with just a little dash, little sprinkling of horror, this is for you. It takes place between, like, we are trying to take over the part of the country that is Texas and like New Mexico and stuff. So it's that part where we're trying to get to the territory, but Mexico is trying to defend it, but the territory is also trying to become independent on its own type thing. So that's what is happening. That's where we're at, like, historical wise. But there is something attacking the vaqueros, and it's giving them susto. And I have never read about a vampire with no eyeballs before. Have you read about vampires with no eyeballs? Like,
that's a different and interesting take on vampires. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Like, they get infected, and it's not even, it's like they never had eyeballs in the first place at all. But it follows basically the relationship between Nestor and Nina, and how she was attacked by one of these vampires when they were like teenagers. And she is the daughter of the ranchero, which means that she's off limits to Nestor, who is a vaquero. So it deals with class systems, and he thinks she's dead because that's what he's been told, and come to find out she's not. But he leaves, comes back. He comes back because he's taking his uncle's place when they call to arms with this whole U.S. versus Texas, Mexico, whatever is rocking. But yeah, you find out that we as the U.S. did some shady shit in the book. I mean, we're definitely painted as a victim. Spoiler: we figure out how to trap and use the vampires as weapons.
I mean, that is very on par with something the United States government would do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So.
But they fall back in love with each other, and yeah. But it's more romance than it is horror. And again, I've never read where the vampires lose their eyes and they walk on all fours. I forget what movie that is. Is it Dawn of the Dead? I forget what movie it is, but like where the vampires are like real vicious. And there's no like real hierarchy. They're just like bloodlust. But it is they've got like claw hands. They're on all fours. They don't have any eyeballs. It's like they never had eyeballs, like, at all. Like, it's not even like sewn shut, it's grown shut. So yeah, that one took me a minute to get through. Now, have you heard of Legends and Lattes, the book by Travis Baldree?
I have. He's got a lot of other stuff that I've like seen, but so yeah, I've heard good things about it.
So I read the first one called Bookshops and Bonedust, and he is known as a audio author. So he's a narrator. I don't even know what all he narrates. But yeah, I just like clicked on it. Will Wright, Black Flame by Will Wright. That series, he's the audio narrator. So Bookshops and Bonedust is the prequel to Legends and Lattes. That was cute. I wouldn't say cozy. When I think of cozy, I think of a cozy mystery. I don't necessarily think of a fantasy as cozy for some reason. But it follows Viv. She's this is before she's got her her coffee shop or whatever she has in the first book. And she's been hurt very bad in her first campaign. So she's in this like sleepy seaside town, and it's not very sleepy, and it's very cute. It's very funny. The little mouse. I want whatever pot roast is, that little like golden retriever owl mix thing. I want one. He seems really cute on the cover.
Do what?
His name is Pot Roast. The animal, the little dog on the book cover. You can't see him from where.
Cannot.
I already returned it to the library too.
Okay, just send me the.
I'll send it to you through Goodreads. Why are you not the first person that shows up? So he looks like he's like a golden retriever or maybe like a pug meets an owl. And his name is Pot Roast. He's adorable. I love him. I want one. But yeah, it's very cute. It's very cozy. It definitely, I feel like I haven't yet to read Legends and Lattes, but I feel like it definitely sets up for the first one of kind of where she falls in love with books and all that, and her coming to terms with being a lesbian, I guess. So yeah, that was very cute. That was funny. I don't know about cozy. Cozy just doesn't ring right for me. For a fantasy, I don't know. And then I read The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. That was less than 100 pages. That's a novella. So it's told in two different parts. It's told through a diary first. So this American is living in Britain, and she's going to college in London, and her mom has passed. It was just her and her mom. So her mom has died of cancer, and this is kind of like her first Christmas by herself, and she's very okay with being by herself. So she's kind of okay. But I wouldn't say a friend, more like an acquaintance, invites her to come to her home for Christmas. And she falls in love with the brother. You come to find out the brother's under suspicion for murder. Spoiler, the American dies. And the second part is the friend telling what happened.
Okay.
And her brother, spoiler, her brother did kill the person that he's under suspicion for murder for. And they came up with a plan to throw the suspicion off of him. And their plan was for him to be, like, have an alibi, I guess. And she was going to kill her friend. But they were going to give her a good last couple of days. So, her falling out with the brother, having a good couple of days with like meals and, family time or whatever. But you find out that, this girl comes back to haunt her every Christmas. Her brother did not stop killing people. Her brother's up in Parliament, and for 100 pages, it's a ride. It is a ride.
Huh.
So yeah, that was. He's known to write The Kind Worth Killing and The Perfect 8 Murders is what Peter Swanson is known for. Those are the two books he's known for.
I recognize his name.
Yeah, he's I don't know if I'll read anything else by him. I'm not positive. The Christmas Guest was part of one of my book club books for a couple months ago that took me forever to get from the library. But I mean, it's less than 100 pages. It's super fast to read. It's definitely interesting because of how it's told through the diary standpoint. It honestly kind of sometimes feels like an invasion of privacy because it's written that way. Because of it being a diary. That's how it kind of felt to me in a way sometimes. But yeah, that's all I've read. I've got a couple I'm almost done with. Just trying to find a new routine. It's like, haven't really watched anything. Yeah, no. I switched over to Spotify, so that's. I've been listening to the Dragon Father while I get ready in the morning, and my husband is making fun of me. So, so.
Huh.
If anybody who hasn't listened to Dragon Father, I think I've talked about this at the last episode. Because it's like the music that you had the DJ play at the wedding. The Dragon Father makes like video game music, like tavern video game music. So, and I found this lady who, she's like, if you're neurospicy, play tavern music and pretend you're like shutting your tavern down, and that might help you get stuff done at night, like to wind down for the day. I find that it helps me stay focused during the day to like when I get ready. So he's got some good stuff. If anybody wants to check him out, he's pretty good. And Fiddle World, he's good too. I like some of his stuff. But I'm finding that I need to find a new podcasting platform to listen to because Stitcher decided to not be a thing anymore. So that's been fun.
Yeah, it's a neurospicy thing where we, there are certain platforms or certain things that we just get so accustomed to or that we enjoy so much.
Yeah.
When it's just kind of stripped away from us, we're like, fuck, what do we do?
What do we do? It's like, damn it. Because, like, my thing is I pay for Audible, and I should not have ads in my podcast because I'm paying for it, and that's included as part of the membership. But guess what? I hear ads, and that shit's annoying. I'll give Aaron Mankey credit. He puts his all in like the last 10 minutes of his show, the last like couple minutes before he gives you like the last story. That's his ad break. I'll give him credit. I like that. Thank you, Aaron Mankey. I also love Lore. Also, if you have not listened, this is just a PSA. We'll eventually cover, I think, what he talks about, but his latest episode of Lore and Legends talks about Fae food, which I thought was kind of cool. So that is a very interesting episode, how eating and when you go into the Fae world is bad, and how that kind of comes to be and where we kind of get that from. So like Hansel and Gretel and stuff like that. So that was actually a very interesting episode as I was listening to that earlier. So it was kind of a cool episode. I just like Aaron Mankey. I love his.
Apparently.
I fucking love Aaron Mankey. Not all of his podcasts, but Lore is definitely one of my favorites. His Halloween one that he puts out every year, he does a podcast called 13 Days of Halloween, and it's a complete production. And it works really well if you listen to it with either surround sound or on headphones. It's meant to be like all immersive. But it is nasty. Like not nasty is like bad, but the sound effects are gross. Like someone's skull being bashed in. There's some wet sound effects.
So it's a narrative?
Yeah. It's good, but you gotta be okay with listening to like super gross shit. He does that every year, which I find really cool. But that is all I have. Yeah, that's all I have. Hope everyone has a good full moon. We're about to hit the quickening, the moon for February. Yeah. So please tell a friend. Please rate, review, subscribe. Please tell a friend. We are on all podcasting platforms. Join us on Facebook and Instagram. If you have a book suggestion or a topic suggestion, you can email us at thewaywardragons@gmail.com. That's all we got. So until next time.
I'm Johnny.
I'm Kelsey.
Bye.